Good evening, everyone. This is Flagler Weather Info with an update on a nor'easter. Today is the 9th of October 2025. So, the National Weather Service is forecasting a long duration nor'easter to affect Flagler County. And that is in combination with the king tides, which will bring some of the highest water levels of the fall season upon us. And the worst of this is expected Friday through the weekend along the Atlantic coast, Intercoastal Waterway, and the St. Johns River Basin. In Flagler County, our main concern is going to be the Intercoastal Waterway and the beaches. With that being said, a coastal flood warning is now in place that comes into force at 10 o'clock in the morning on Friday, which is the 10th of October. And that is for expected moderate tidal flooding from Friday morning through Saturday night. Wind advisories are also in place for the coastal areas. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Gale warnings for the offshore waters. Beach erosion, definitely a possibility, along with some heavy rainfall. Wind advisories are in place with gusts up to 40 to 45 miles per hour expected along the coast. We've actually seen some of that at Marineland a little bit earlier and continuing to get that today. Inland, though, it's just going to be breezy, 20, 35 miles an hour. If you're in a big, wide open area, you could see some stronger gusts, but the strongest winds will be right at the beaches, right off the ocean. Coastal flood warning in place. Tides of 2 to 3 feet above the highest regular tide will be possible. So, how high is that? Let's take a look at Flagler Beach because this is one of the problem areas, and this is using a flood viewer, a sea level rise viewer. So, we're looking at about South 23rd Street, South Flagler. So if we raise this up to about 2 feet, you can see that floods Flagler Avenue, South 23rd Street, a couple other places here. If we raise this up to 3 feet, which is the maximum, the highest it could possibly go according to the forecast, keep in mind that this can change, then we flood lots of areas here. Flagler Avenue, maybe a little bit of Daytona. This is pretty shallow water overall, but it could get near people's houses. And we also have some problems along South Flagler Avenue further up into Flagler Beach, maybe even some parts of North Flagler Avenue as well. And then the other place that is vulnerable to that type of flooding is Surfside Estates along Intercoastal Drive. You can get some flooding there off the Intercoastal Waterway if we get to 3 feet. So why are we getting that? And basically, with the stronger northeast winds coming in off the ocean, it blows water into these inlets. The water gets pushed into the inlets for each high tide, but the wind doesn't let the tides back out. So with each high tide, you get more and more water in there, and then that produces the tidal flooding that you see. So going back to our briefing here, again, dangerous beach conditions will continue. We're looking at surf of 6 to 9 feet along the coast here, and that's why there's a high surf advisory. Beach erosion is definitely going to be a thing with this storm, and potential rainfalls 2 to 3 inches overall, but we'll take a closer look at that in just a few minutes. So let's go ahead and we're going to back up here just a bit, and we're going to take a look at, not that far. We're going to take a look at the how things are standing right now with the flood gauges, and zooming into Flagler County here. The Bing's Landing gauge, which is one of the main ones that should be watched. Right now, we're not in too bad a shape. The tide is actually going out, but the high tide was right at minor flood stage. We noticed that the trend has been slowly drifting downwards, but now we're starting to come back up with this last tide. Subsequent tides will probably be a little higher. So once we start getting into moderate flood stage, which is right at 2.3 feet, then we start having problems in some of those really low-lying areas. Down here at Bulow, we are in minor flood stage right now down there, and it takes quite a bit higher to have problems down there. But you can see that we were trending downward, but now you can see things are starting to swing back up. Out here at Hall Creek on the west side of the county, we are staying in minor flood stage, and there's a downward trend right now. If we get a lot of rain, this might start to come back up. So let's go ahead and continue onward, and we will look at some other bits of information here. So let's talk about winds. So strongest winds will be at the beaches. This is for Friday. Gust up to 40 miles an hour. That's gale force. Flagler Beach, Beverly Beach up in the upper 30s, 39 in Beverly Beach, gusting up to 40 at Marineland. Gusting Saturday, we could potentially be gusting up to maybe near 50 miles an hour at Marineland. And right along the beaches here, gusts into the 40s. So that is for Saturday. Sunday, though, the winds start to come back down, and then we'll start to see those winds continue to come down as we go into the week ahead, down gusting into 20. Remember, this is just gusts. This is not sustained winds. Strongest winds look like to be on Saturday, gusting up to 44 miles per hour at Beverly Beach and 49 at Marineland. These numbers get adjusted with every forecast. It's possible these numbers could get lower or higher. So it's important to stay up to date on the forecast. Talk about rainfall amounts right now. Rain chances tonight, close to 100% chance, many locations in Flagler County. Tomorrow, only down to about 80% chance, but still pretty high likelihood of passing showers, rain, maybe some thunderstorms. And then those rain chances decrease quite a bit when we get to Saturday. And then when we get to Sunday, it dries out and it stays dry for the rest of the week. How much rain are we going to get? Well, we did see the 2 to 3 inches, but let's take, this is more updated information. Now through Sunday, possibility of 3 to 4 inches in some places, maybe even 4 to 6 in some places, 2 to 3 inches on a larger scale, largely across the county, with higher amounts is what we're looking at there. Over several days, as long as this is spread out over several days, it's not that big of a deal. But if you get a lot of that, if you get 4 inches of rain in a couple hours, then you could have some flooding problems associated with that. So that's what we're looking at with the nor'easter rate at the moment. I appreciate everyone taking time to watch. Feel free to rewind back if you need to rewatch anything again, and keep following us. Thank you.